Peace, YouTube. I think you can see me. Peace, peace to the east, the west, north, and the south. This is Flurburn coming in. Check on in. We have lots to discuss. I've been away for a little bit, but I'm back. Check on in. Did you hear that? Check on it. Everyone check on it. Sorry. I Thank you, Anna. Yafi's laughing because she knows what I'm playing. מעוז גור ישועתי, נפתלי קש וקישיה. עצי שקט ליד ביתי, עומדים בלא בן פוריה. פה במנהרות ובמצדות ובמערות, ובנבנות צורים ובמחילות עפר, ושם בלב עליי. Okay. All right, let me cut it out. let me stop. Peace East, West, Peace East, West, North, South. This is Flurburn coming to you this Grand Rising. You know, I'm coming to you early. You know what time it is here? It's 9:26. You know, normally I don't make videos before 11 o'clock in the morning, but you know, I'm up early. I have a new guest in our house. So mommy is up early taking care of babies. Okay. So I'm up early at the crack of dawn when my little ones are sleeping right now. So check on him. So, if you heard the song that I played previously, it's a Yom Kippur song. I know Yafi is probably, a couple of you do speak Hebrew. So that was a Yom Kippur song. It's a war song from 1972. There's a reason why I played that song. It all plays into it. Please put a like on the video as you come in. Now, mind you, when I come in early, and this isn't early for Flurbrun, okay? I've been up late, but let me state this. Be mindful that this video won't stay up. It will go onto the Patreon because I'm about to blow spots of mass destruction. And because of the content of the video, I'm just doing this live for you guys who are here, and this content gets taken off. Okay, so do know, um, do know that, again, while you're here, so please do not email me. Those on Patreon, you already know. Just know that what we discuss here is going to be literally, the helicopters are here now, blowing spots. Okay, so peace at east, west, north, and the south. I think I said that already. Buenos dias, buenos dias. Bon dia, bon dia. Grand rising. Okay, so all right, so listen, everyone. You know, we want to talk about what's going on. I'm going to talk about the big booms first, okay? The big booms are really taking over the globe, okay? So there's been a mass amount of, bonjour. There's been a mass amount of reliance that there has been booms all over the states. First denotion of this was in New York. Some of my family in New York had already said that they were hearing big booms, and they were saying that they were hearing loud, what seemed like fireworks. Now, mind you, those from New York, now it's been all over the place. I think Maryland also stated it. I think North Carolina stated it. Now, mind you, in the South, it's rare. It isn't new. You heard in San Diego? Okay, West Coast is getting it too. It isn't really new to those in the South because people buy fireworks. They buy fireworks and they always, you know. Hold on. Let me just close. Whenever my name. Anyway, people are known for fireworks and you know, let off fireworks previous to, I'm sorry, family, I'm distracted. My neighbor's being okay. But definitely in Cleveland's getting it too, but definitely in New York, that's very rare. What's interesting about New York, oh my God, these notifications are just bothering me. Okay. Oh wait, hold on, family. No, hold on, family. If he's sleeping, let him sleep. Yeah, just let him sleep. Okay? No, he'll be fine. He'll roll that way. Okay. So sorry about that. All right. Okay. Sorry about that. So people are hearing boom. So I wanted to make sure that I talked to you guys about what I personally think is my opinion of what's going on. Now, New York, they had a relation to, they were definitely in New York saying this. Now, mind you, New York, it isn't legal. It was never legal, especially in like Manhattan. It's not legal to have certain kind of fireworks. So when you're living in New York, and I know a lot of other places you have restrictions. In the South, it's more legal to get bigger fireworks. But do know we're in Kukarachi time. We're in Wuhan time. There isn't any, hold on. There we go. There isn't anywhere that you are buying fireworks and people are doing it readily. People are in quarantine. People have curfews. The fact of the matter is, whoever is hearing fireworks, that is meant to condition you to hearing booms and explosions and shots. Remember, even people who live in places like where there's a lot of gunshots, the first thing they think a lot of times is it sounds like fireworks. Now, why would this happen? They are preparing you, family. This is what, let me slow down. When you go to other countries, before there is so-called wartime, how they prepare the people so that they don't, so they're numb and they're kind of, they aren't prepared to fight back or to prepare to run, is they get them acclimated to hearing booms and snaps and booms and big bangs. Okay. This is a social form of conditioning. The Nazis had mastered this during World War II. I think they were the first people to initiate this. What they'll do is, previous to something occurring, a war being initiated, boots on ground, they will prepare the country that they're about to, unleash, war, war or people coming. They will prepare them by making sounds or explosions or things that sound like fireworks previous to it happening. So when they told me this in New York, I already knew what it was. I knew they were preparing. Now, mind you, family, again, when you come to this video, please put a like on the video. Do know this, that they already have the demolition. I told you it is called the Willy Wonka gentrification. They've already decided, remember, most of the so-called dark Kabbalists who had beautiful plush apartments in New York City, who had penthouses, who had beautiful apartments and houses, brownstones, they have all left. A lot of them have gone into the Berkshires or into Long Island, into the Hamptons, or they have actually left the state. Okay. Most of them have left. I personally don't know of one, and I know a few, one person who has, is higher in the social economical, system that has not left. Now, why does this matter? It means that they are planning to decimate the city. Remember, someone has to cash out on all those high skyscrapers. I'm sorry. Skyscrapers. Remember, if you look at the money trail, I want you to follow it backwards. Why is it that in New York City that a lot of the Ashkenazi, the Orthodox Hasidic community who owns a lot of the real estate in New York, why are they upping their insurance policies? Now, mind you, I've got boobs on ground and everywhere. So I know the ins and outs of people and what they're doing. I like to follow the paper trail because you can always follow the paper trail backwards and see what the incentive or what the motivation is with a group of people, with a corporation, whatever. Okay. They own the entirety of most of New York. And then not only do they own the entirety of it, they want to cash out because they know that the jig is up. Okay. We talked about the Red Dawn a year ago. We already spoke about the Red Dawn. And I suggest to you, if you don't get an opportunity, I suggest that you go watch the movie Red Dawn, watch the old version and the newer version. Okay. I told you the Chinois have already bought up all of the United States of America, with the exception, to my knowledge, of Cali and Hawaii. They own all the real estate in Manhattan. The Ashkenazis, the Khazars, the Zionists own the majority of real estate, including all of the skyscrapers, all of the main corporation buildings. And because they know that the time is up, and we talked about this, that's why a lot of land is being sold for like nothing now. Did you notice that? They're selling land everywhere. Arkansas, Oklahoma, North Carolina. They're selling land everywhere for dirt cheap. You know why? Because they want you to put your money out because everything's done. You don't own it. They know this. They know that everything's a wrap. So because of that, they're trying to get as much money out of you as possible because they know that it won't mean anything anyway. So they don't care that they sell their land for change, chump change, because it isn't going to be yours anyway. The Communist Party is here. And I've talked about this before. But what you aren't giving credit to is the Zionists. The Zionists have basically are part have linked up, and they've always been linked up with the Communist Party, and also they've linked up with the Dark Kabbalists. All those booms, bangs, all those sounds are preparing you and conditioning you so that when the real bangs come, when the boots come on ground, you won't know any difference. If you hear shots now, you're hearing pings, pangs, booms. They're conditioning you, family. This is war conditioning. They do it to other countries. Please practice your right to research while you have an opportunity to do so. Look at how they initiate war in other countries. Look what they do preamp to any established community or country previous to them taking it over or creating a war. They're getting you desensitized. They do it in Israel. They always have rockets going off, getting people used to that sound, getting you initiated into that way of living. It's the same thing with many people wearing medical masks. You're wearing medical masks. Do you not realize that manifestation is everything? Co-creation happens by you being complicit, by you wearing a blue medical mask. Do you remember Xinhua's neck of the woods previous to the cucarachas? Previous to the cucarachas, the T virus, do you realize that anytime you looked at a movie with the Xinhuas, they always had masks on, and there wasn't anything going around. They always wore masks. So when that initiation into that new paradigm came, they brought their frequency here. So now you are wearing the same type of manifestation that they did. That lets you know who's in here, who's in your house. You'll know who's in your house by the frequency or the behavior or the patterns or the type of narrative that comes along. That's how you know who's there. If I go to a new neighborhood, I know who's there based on the same behavioral patterns, same things. So now you should have known who was coming based on them, you now ritualizing and wearing the same things they did in that neck of the woods. They are here. And the Zionists are about to cash out with their huge, huge upgrade on their insurance policies. Do you understand? They have insurance policies that they just upped. They plan to cash out on the global gentrification. And it's the Xinhua's global gentrification. It is now a communist country. Whether you know it or not, that's why they have facial recognition. Remember, as above, so below, as within, so without, as here, over there. When you saw another group of people come in mass droves, they brought their imprint of their frequency with them. What is one of the things that Xinhua had? They had facial recognition. They had, behavioral pattern, currency. We're starting to see that show up. They had applications on their phones to basically to follow people, right? And they had their massive mass destruction because they were living in an uninhabitable, very low frequency, very toxic, very pollution ridden world. They're getting you ready for war, family. And the Zionists are the top tier. They're basically the ones initiating everything. They threw y'all under the bus a long time ago. That's why all the land is going for pennies, because it doesn't mean anything. They're selling you land that has no value because the country's done. It is under a new regime. And the way that they have to kindly bring the sheeple along, it's been sold a long time ago. They're going to kindly make sure they do it and initiate it so that you think that there's actually an event that actually makes it happen. It's already been sold. All they're going to do is give you a theatrical war, like, theater, like, scene. And then all of a sudden, bam, oh, now we understand why the country, because it was taken over. No, it was already done. It was signed and sealed and delivered. They're here. And the Zionists get zero credit. All the buttons have been pushed from those on the top tier, and they are the Khazars. The Zionists have orchestrated, and they've done all this, and they get no credit. They'll blame the Xinhua. They'll blame the Africanos. They'll blame the Russians. But meanwhile, it's them. If you look and see where the breadcrumbs are coming from, it's coming from Chinois' neck of the woods. But it's also coming from a group of Khazars that are running things all on the top tier. Now, if you don't, listen, at the beginning of this video, I said, take everything I share with a grain of salt, okay? This is my opinion. This is how I feel. This is the things that I've been researching and what I've come to a general consensus about. You do not have to believe me. You do not have to fall in line with anything I believe. This is my thing. If I share something with you, I always tell you to go vet it out yourself. So if you feel that some of this is absolutely sensationalizing something based on nonsensical rhetoric, then by all means, fact check me. Fact check me. I want you to find out how much of the insurance policies have been upped over the last 9 to 12 months. When the insurance policies were upped, how much money were the insurance policies being promoted up? Now, mind you, if this was all, hold on. Hot. If this is all smoke and mirrors, then look at the money trail. Look at what they stand to gain from the decimation of New York City. New York City has always been a target. You know this. It was a Zionist nest. But remember, when they moved the nest and those in the nest have moved, what does that mean? If the nest is moved, it means that it's done. That means it's okay for decimation. They have literally prepared and manicured financially the scenario to make it happen. And that's where all the booms, rings, tings, that's all coming to prepare for the new lords, the new landlords who are ready to collect on their payment. They were hiding. It's almost like having a hidden boyfriend, like nobody knows who's in the background and so on. And then all of a sudden they show up and like, yo, where'd y'all come from? They were always here. Remember, we talked about them making cash offers in Orlando. Now, mind you, in my neighborhood, I think we talked about this before. They were making cash offers in Orlando on all the homes. People were getting phone calls. I got phone calls making cash offers, like literally anything you could have said. They would ask you how much you wanted for your house, and it could go 40, 50,000 above market. That's how much cash they were offering you to take on your land. And this was for all of the Chinois that were coming in the neighborhoods, unbeknown to the majority of people. And then they slowly, after the cucarachas, were disseminating these beings all over the place as if they're natural to the environment. No, if I haven't seen you before the cucarachas, why am I seeing you after if we're so-called closed the borders? No, because you were already here. And if you were already here, then your Willy Wonka was the reason why you were here. And that was initiated under a false or like a hidden hand. Okay. And, I'm going to get into chicken and mass destruction. Why I'm getting on the orthodoxy and the Khazar Zionists. Why am I getting on them? Because they are literally being cloaked by others. They aren't getting the credit they duly deserve. They are really the ones who are doing all the diabolicalness. All Zionists are the reason why there is massive colonization, why there is a decimation of one and as opposed to others. They literally make or destroy environments under a cloak of others. They are really good at throwing a stone and blaming it on the Japanese, throwing a stone and blaming it on Russia, throwing a stone and blaming it on China. This is what they do. They're the ish starters, but they collect on it. And why I wanted to talk about, why I wanted to talk about also with Yom Kippur. Hold on. Why I wanted to talk about Yom Kippur is that I wanted to talk about its connection to chicken and mass destruction. I had to talk about that. There's another video I have to make all while playing the victims. Thank you, Yafi. And Yafi's in Israel. She knows. She sees it firsthand. Let me state this. I'm kind of, it's not a sidebar. It goes along with the title. So I want to bring this in here because it's interrelated into the into the orchestration of control and basically chemicalizing people to make them drink the Kool-Aid a little easier. So let me kind of sidebar a little bit, okay? And to the patrons, I have the video later for you talking about the Gelam, okay? Listen, I've had so much revelation as I was gone for a few days. There's so many revelations that I've connected the dots, and it's really sick. So patrons, you get that video on the Gelams and how it's interrelated to certain things connected to this. But let's talk about the chicken of mass destruction. There is a ritual, okay? And I want you guys to remember, hold on. I want you to remember when we were doing the chicken challenge, okay? Roughly the chicken challenge, hold on, let me make sure. I like the dots and okay. So last year, the chicken challenge was roughly 2019. The chicken challenge was done roughly in October, the end of September, and roughly into October. I think it may have segued into November. I don't think so, but I think the chicken challenge was roughly then. I think, can someone verify that if you get a chance? I'm almost positive. So why does this matter? You have to realize that when the dark Kabbalists or Satanists or Luciferians or, Zionists are doing anything, they're very, very clever in order to cloak or to disallow from you even following their trail. They do several different things. They disseminate several different ways to initiate forms of control and illusion by ritualizing things and also disseminating and messing with your food. Okay. So why is this very important? Do you realize that during Yom Kippur, 50,000 chickens are sacrificed in just Brooklyn alone? Part of the ritual performed by the Hasidic Jews. The practice is called kaparis, caparo. It's meant to transfer a person's sins into the chicken. Listen to me again. I want you to pay attention to me. This is very important. Remember, whenever there's smoke, there's fire. And I want you to listen to this because a lot of people don't know this. Caporo, okay? It's practiced by some Jews on the eve of Yom Kippur. This is a practice in which a chicken or money is waved over a person's head, and the chicken is then slaughtered in accordance to Hasidic rules. Okay. Now, this year, that ritual, that actual date for Yom Kippur, it changes every year based on, moon phase. I think they go by the moon phases, but astrological phases. So sunset on the 27th, it'll be this year in 2020. Last year, it was in October the 8th to 9th. Okay. Why you need to know this? Listen to what I said. I said just in Brooklyn. There's a lot of Hasidic Jews all over the world, whether you know that they exist or not. Sometimes we have bigger to Brooklyn. Brooklyn has a bigger population of Hasidic Jews, Orthodox Jews. And in the picture, if you see in my clip in the picture, you see the Hasidic Jews. Usually you denote them, they have a curl on the side, very old-fashioned hats and so on. Usually you'll see them wear the black hats, black top coats. The women wear wigs to keep their hair hidden. They're almost like what you consider to be like an occult kind of practice. In Brooklyn and New York, Crown Heights, many of us who are from New York are recognized. My uncle had a beautiful brownstone, and the Hasidic had made so many offers until he finally sold. I mean, they owned all of the properties in New York. That's why I say you got to be mindful, and this conversation is relative. They slaughter 50,000 chickens. Now, mind you, it is against the law. Back in the days, what happened is that they were back in the days, they would tell these communities, and I remember when I was 25, I think 25, I remember that some of my cronies who were part of the animal rights community were going after the Orthodox Jews because during this time, every chicken was bought possible, chicken of mass destruction, and they would purchase a mass amount of chickens. Listen, that's 50,000 chickens. That's a lot of chickens, family. Okay. So mind you, They decided, because the animal rights were pissed off. Remember what I told you with the Ritualists. Let me read it to you one more time. Please put a like on a video if you're okay with this conversation. More likes you have, the longer this video come up, because I'm going to take it off and put it on my Patreon. Okay, so listen again what it is. An estimated 50,000 chickens will be sacrificed in Brooklyn as part of a ritual performed by the Hasidic Jews. The practice, called Kaporo, is meant to transfer, listen to me, family, transfer, listen to the words I'm stating to you, transfer a person's sins into the chicken, and then the chicken is slaughtered. Do you know, family, what I found out? And I'm saying that's why I got to take the video down. These chickens were being donated to Popeye's Chicken. Popeye's Chicken had that's why you were getting free chicken sandwiches. That's why you were getting this chicken sandwich that was so inexpensive and cheap. They were donating a lot of their chickens, not only to just Popeye's, to a lot of grocery stores, but they were donating those sinful chickens of mass destruction into your feeding ground. Remember, everything, this is a spiritual war, family. This is a spiritual war. Okay? They are basically disseminating these donated chickens where they've already exonerated themselves. Remember, anyone overstand or understand, I know the occult. Remember, we have Santeria, what's the number one thing in Santeria and in voodoo and hoodoo? What do they do when they transfer? The chicken is an offering, but not only times they transfer, they will clear you of chicken. They will take the chicken and clear you of your sins. What do they do to you when they're in the ritual? They will clear you. You'll see the woman, if she's trying to take demons off of you, she will put that chicken all around you. She's pulling the frequency into the bird. And then the bird is sacrificed. So when I talk about chicken and mass destruction, listen, family, they are masterful magicians. And if you know and you understand that these beings have been mastering these occult rituals for longer than you've even known that they've existed, you will know that they have the ability to transfer things from them onto others. If I'm wrong, please check me. Check me. And the eggs too. That's another thing in the eggs. Yes, the rituals in the eggs. Okay. So when they're giving free chicken sandwiches and chicken challenges, you wonder why some of the brown community was most impeded by some of the cucarachis. Do you wonder why? The biggest population of people who eat and consume the most amount of fast food chicken, right? I remember back in the days when we were talking about veganism and vegetarianism, I had a whole bunch of so-called people saying, oh, chicken's safe. You know, all I eat, I don't really eat anything. I don't eat red meat, but I eat chicken. They're not taking a cow and putting it over their head. They're not transferring their energy into anything but a chicken. Okay? So I'm just saying, family, I wanted to sidebar into that to let you know that the Okido, there's going to be several different rituals that are going to go. And I want you to follow the Hebrew calendar and also follow some of the Hebrew principles, what they do. Because remember, the ones who have literally been on the top are Zionists. Now, mind you, this has nothing to do with Judaic practices and principles. Judaic people in themselves, if you read the Torah, the Talmud, even the Kabbalah, has some very beautiful principles, just like the Bible does. I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I know plenty of people who practice a lot of Judaic holidays, and also, Christian holidays. Remember, because there's a tie-in, because one worships a Jew and the other doesn't believe that the Messiah has come. So basically they're waiting for the Messiah. The Judaic people are waiting. The Christians already believe he came. So one worships Jews and then the other doesn't acknowledge that Jesus was that of them. Okay. So it's basically that. Okay. So know that you have to realize, even in Christian practice, let me say this, y'all Christians, you should have heard. My Christian video wasn't taken down. It's literally on my Patreon. Let me tell you, I got prayers I was called a harlot. You know, I'm a mother, and I'm just sidebarring for a minute. just to give you, I'm busty. If that offends you, I breastfeed my babies. I'm a busty Babs. I'm unapologetic, and I'm a native islander. So if that bothers you that I speak on things relatively talking about anything, it doesn't make me a harlot. It just makes me someone who's thicker who talks about things that are relative. I didn't know we had a size requirement on on YouTube. I didn't know there was a weight requirement to be on YouTube to speak about anything. I didn't know that the bustier you are, I'm not qualified. Like if you have a man who had a sex change and he let his breasts all out, nobody would say anything about it. You have women who have fake breasts, fake behinds, fake eyes. Nobody says anything to them. I'm a natural 1000% organic heirloom woman, and people have more issues with my bosoms, where actually I have zero problems with anyone in my neighborhood. So I'm just saying that to the Christians, because the Christians were going all kinds of crazy when I told them you're rocking a cross. Anyway, if you want to hear that video, it is on my page. I was amused. But they were praying. They're doing prayers for me right now. I do welcome positive prayers for myself and my family. If you want to extradite the demons of mass destruction that you feel that are in my harlot soul, I always think prayer is a positive thing. By all means, as long as it's positive, I will accept your prayers. I hit the sidebar. The Christians lost their mind. Oh, how could you say the cross is negative? It's an ankh with a broken womb. They took the womb off the cross. But you think I'm crazy? Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Anyway, let's go back into chickens and mass destruction and Yom Kippur. No, I just thought it was interesting that you have people who have artificial parts walking around all the time. I see more women with fake breasts and their breasts are all out, like out on the streets, sexualizing them. I'm a breastfeeding mother, pregnant mother that was, I've been pregnant more times than not. And I get criticized for, having big bosoms. It's crazy. Anyway, it can be very hypocritical. I'm speaking on things. If you don't like, this is the thing. If my channel offends you, this is what I have to say. I have more people subscribe to me that claim to hate me. They so-called hate me. They like to come in here. They subscribe to me. They like to put a hate on the video, but they watch the entire video and mimic everything I do. If you dislike someone and you think that they're a demon, or you think that they have devils attached to them, or you think that they're a harlot, or you think that they're crazy, why do you come to their channel? You're a liar. You lie to yourself. You actually like me and you're a hater. You're jealous. You have some insecurities or some sort of hatred, and you want to project them on me. If you don't like me, don't watch me. There's plenty of other channels with women of color talking about whatever ever. I'm one of many. So if I'm not the one, unsubscribe from me and go to another channel. Why watch me and obsess with hating me, but listen to everything I do? That's not hate. There's going to be a consequence to you being a leech and a vampire. There's bigger channels who do that, who don't like me because I call their BS out. And they sit there and they watch every single word. They hang on everything I share. And then meanwhile, they'll go to their channel and try to shapeshift it and make it seem like they made up some amazing things because I'm some sort of like demon. If I'm a demon, let me and my demon friends, let me and my demon friends and my witcheries, let us stay by ourselves on the channel. We don't need anybody else. I'm not pandering my channel to other people. Don't share me. I've never told you to share. Do not share me. Anyway, I had to go on a rant because it was very interesting that you see people who will make all kinds of insidious accusations about me that are untrue. Like you have people saying all kinds of things that telling people I'm giving them readings and I'm putting demons on them. They can make up any lie. And then put it online, and then other people like, yes, I saw demons coming out of her mouth and her nose. If you're seeing demons coming out of my mouth and nose, why are you on my channel? Why? I could infect you. Stay away. Double D demons. Triple D demons. Anyway, I went on a rant. Okay, so let's go back on chickens and mass destruction. I had to say that because the religious thing got a lot of people up, heated. And I was like, listen, if you don't like, listen, I have girlfriends. I don't agree with everything they say. I don't demonize them though. If my girlfriend says something I don't like, I'll be like, I don't agree. And I just keep it moving. If you don't agree, just keep it moving. What's the big deal? It's like mental illness is being perpetuated and exasperated online. Like, you don't know that not everything I say and do you're not supposed to agree with. If you want to rock a cross, rock it. That's on you. I'm not going around policing people who have crosses. I'm not even in your neighborhood. Anyway, so let's go into the chickens of mass destruction. So Yom Kippur is a ritual that's done by the Hasidic community when they put the chicken over the head. And I always wanted to connect the dots that most people have to realize that rituals are generally across the board. You'll see different religions or different practices still have the same general practice, and they'll call it something different. Okay, so the Judaic people call it differently. They'll demonize, Christians, or they'll demonize, voodooans or occultists for doing exactly the same practice that they parasited back in the days, and they're doing themselves. Okay, so I wanted to put the chicken out there, the chicken of mass destruction, because a lot of people get upset when I talk about chickens of mass destruction. It is a fact. They are now I've given you actually some tangible evidence that the 50,000, and that's just in Brooklyn. Let me state this. The 50,000 chickens that are in Brooklyn, that was just in Brooklyn alone. That wasn't anywhere else. That was just in Brooklyn. So could you imagine that being in Brooklyn, that there's a host of other places that have just as many of that community that are donating chickens, where they've transferred their darkness into the chicken, and they're basically donating it to people to take on. That's why I tell you women to be very careful when women donate their hair from like India, Malaysia, and you're wearing weaves from people who've sacrificed their hair, and their sins or their karma is in the hair, and then you want to rock the weave, but not realizing you're utilizing someone's transferred energy. And when you wear the hair, you wonder why your life is tragic. Okay. Any woman who's shaving off her head, first of all, they're not coming from an environment, unless cancer. There's a lot of cancer survivors who are people who donate to people who suffer from cancer. I'm not talking about them. I want to make sure we're being rational. Let me state that again. I'm not demonizing some of the women who donate to their mothers or their sisters or to other women. There are some young ladies who actually do take their hair, cut it off, and they donate it to the Cancer Society so that women aren't feeling subjected to humiliation during the time when they're sick. Okay, so that does happen. So I want to state that. I don't want to say anything about that, but I'm just saying, did the hair before and got so angry, okay, yeah, it's a transference. So chicken, hair, anything that comes from another, anytime there's a transference of energy and you take something from somewhere else, I can kind of relate it. Why my mother used to tell me as a young girl, my mother used to tell me as a young girl not to use my girlfriend's jewelry. And I used to get upset. Like, remember back in the days, I don't know if you guys do it still, because I used to want to do it. Like, my girlfriends and me used to like to swap jewelry. So if I had a really pair of good, pretty earrings, my girlfriend would want to rock it, or I'd want to wear it to an outfit or a bracelet or what have you. My mother had totally told me, no, you don't wear other people's jewelry. And I was like, Mommy, why would you say that? She was like, because it's transference. My mother, who's a matrix mom, my mom is not one to be all into this, the excited, crazy things like that. Yeah, clothes too. She was really big on not wearing things that other people wore. She felt like there was transference of energy into those things, and she wouldn't want me to take on that energy. And she's correct. I know later on, it's kind of like, you look at your moms. You ever see your moms? I gotta apologize to my mom. My mom said some things sometimes, and she used to say, always kind of like tell me not to do things. And I would think she was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I really did. As a young girl, I think a lot of us kind of think of our parents as being overly sensitive or critical of certain things. And meanwhile, she was absolutely right. Now we have the actual evidence and the verbiage to go along with that kind of, acknowledgement. She didn't really say anything that other than she knew it was some energy. Okay, so chicken, a mass destruction. I've already given you a new theory. Say zero to chicken. And you wonder why chicken is the most pandemics come from chicken and pigs, right? Chickens have worms, again, and this isn't to demonize chickens themselves, because mind you, living chickens are absolutely really sweet. A lot of times when you see chickens, I love this. I don't know if you've been to farms, chickens are really smart. The mothers are absolutely the most amazing mothers. Okay, birds tend to be really, really beautiful parents. I don't think people know that. Geese are actually the most protective, but birds are really nice. Birds really friendly. A mother chicken is very friendly, but birds eat grubs. I don't know if you know that. They eat grubs. A natural bird eats worms and grubs and bugs. People who don't know that, I'm just going to share that. Some of us from the Caribbean see that. People who raise chicken on the farms, you know this, they eat grubs. Feeding them corn and things like that, that's geoengineered. And I'm going to go into that when I talk about the golem. Okay. I'm going to talk about the golem later on Patreon. So you'll join me for that conversation, because that's a whole look at a 666 showing up on my thing. That's a whole nother conversation that's interrelated with this. Okay. So say zero to chicken and mass destruction. And now you know that the Zionists have perfectly designed a way to lower your immune system and also lower your spiritual to insert you with their own demons. So they've exonerated themselves from their sins, placed it in a chicken, and then you go and eat the same chicken that their sins are in. And then you wonder why you have problems, or you're unable to get money, or you're able to get a break in life. You're eating someone else's sin. So whatever their sin was, you don't know what their sin was. They could be a pedophile, they could be an abuser, they could have terrible luck. You're taking on that sin. Okay. Unless you rear, I know some amazing people who rear their own food. If you're doing that, I don't agree with that either. But if you have a farm, or you have access to a farm where you can consume things from that particular place, where you know where the energy is coming from, where that animal is being raised, that's totally different than you unknowingly going into a grocery store thinking that you're getting nourishment, and you're really getting possessed by the devil. Okay. You're getting a nice dish of sin on okay. The Zionists are absolutely the most diabolical and the most cloaked beings that you ever. They're insipidous, and they're in every tier of society. They rule over everything. It was my girlfriend, big up to our C-Star, who was on from Saudi Arabia, and I haven't heard from her since. I hope she's okay. She was the one who let me know that even in Saudi Arabia, when the Zionists came, they took over. So all the local tribes that should have been tribal, the prime ministers and things like that, the Zionists would come, they would take over a society, and what they would do is they just had it. So you had non, quote unquote, Saudi Arabians, native, indigenous, or the native tribes who are local to those areas, but you had these neo-Zionist, um, you know, uh, um, devils going into different societies, and then they would be head of the tier of the governmental systems. And she was the one who denoted that all of these that's why we don't have any issues with Saudi Arabia, because they rule anywhere where the Zionists are head of. We don't have beef with them, because they're already ruling over the society. They already took control. There's no reason to have beef. They only cause beef in societies that they want to take over. And when they destabilize them through the food or through the booms, hearing bombs, booms, tickles, whatever. And then all of a sudden the people are so complicit and so used to hearing booms and fireworks that when the real war comes, they don't run, they don't react, because they don't know the real war is coming. Then when they destabilize the environment, when they've also geoengineered the food and poisoned the people, destabilize the environment, create a pattern of conditioning to make people unaware of what's going on, then they do the takeover. And when they take over after the destabilization and creating coups, saying, hey, this tribe did this. Hey, this tribe did this. After you're all fighting against each other, just like in the United States in America that you're seeing now, while you're all confused and very, they have the ability to take over nicely and cohesively, because you aren't even concerned about outsiders coming in at that time, because you're so busy fighting each other. So then at that point, they're going to come in. And when they come in, they reestablish a whole governmental system with the Zionists on top. That's why you see all these top tiers of countries who are supposedly so-called brown, with people that look opposite of everything that the tribes look like. Because at the top tier of any of these major societies, they will have one of their kingpins, Okay, they're king hens sitting on the top tier, disseminating all of the rules and regulations while they're feeding and parasiting off the benefits of that environment. This is how they do. I'm sorry. Are you guys okay? Did I go in? I'm sorry. Please put a like on the video. We have 693 fabulous folk in here. Please put a like on the video if you're okay with the conversation. Not that you agree, just as a general, acceptance that I have these conversations in an open forum of conversation. So I want to call, listen, I have the phone lines open. You have a little bit. Okay, my little ones are sleeping. And while they're sleeping, you have my time. So if you want me to call in, if you have an opinion. Okay, hold on. I have a bee. There we go. You see the bee fly out? That's how I deal with bees. You see the bee? Bzzz, just open the door. I just opened the window to the bees. If you want to call in, please go to my email and leave your number and I will call you in. If you have an opinion on this, if you disagree about the chicken mesh construction, if you have any stories about hearing the booms in your neck of the woods, you have a little bit of my time. My battery's okay. Like I said, my little ones are sleeping. I'm up early. I'll be up early from now on. Because we have a house guest. So if that's the case, please make sure that you leave your email, your number in my email, and I'll call you right now. Okay? I'll give you guys a couple minutes. Do you guys have my email? You're going to get Starbucks, baby face. I'm finally can get my coffee. I'm happy. I actually have a little coffee today. It's not a lot. I have a little coffee, so I can drink coffee again a little bit. Does anyone call? Maybe you guys don't want to call. That's rare that you guys. It's too early in the morning, in the rising. I'm sorry. Philly has no one's. You guys usually like to call. Anybody wants to call? Want me to call them? You leave your number, and again, I don't give your number away. You already know how I get down. There's booms in Miami. Okay, Miami's already, Philly's saying it. Oh, thank you. You just made it? You're at work? Okay. You want to call? If you're calling, leave your number. No, leave your number because I'm calling you. Leave your number on don't put your number on there, my love. I don't want you to put your number on there. Don't put your number on here, guys. I don't want you to do that because people are creepy on here. I don't want anyone calling you and harassing you, okay? So put your number on my call. Let me put my email. Hold on. I'll give you my email. Okay, you just emailed share approves already called. Okay, my email. Let me put my email in here so you guys have it. Hold on. Oh, I hear it. I hear the numbers. Okay, that's my email. You can call with your number. I'll call in, call you to discuss. Okay, so I'll call in our first C-star. Hold on. Hey, Jeannie, I'm calling you first. I'm doing like the old school. I hope you don't mind. Aïe, 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 mon Dieu. Hello. Okay, Jeannie, I'm calling you first. Okay. When you do shows in your car, be too loud. Hey, love, how are you?
How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. You're up early. Are you on the West Coast or East Coast?
I'm on the West Coast. It's 13 right now.
Woo! It's rising in the morning. This is a good conversation for early rising. This is coffee talk.
Well, it's time. Like the sun shining. It's going to be 110 degrees in a little bit. So.
110 degrees?
Yeah. So I have to get
up. Fire in the yard. This is, the
fire.
Remember, I used to tell people all the time, heaven isn't hot. Heaven's cold because heaven, hot things disinfect. It gets rid of people who don't like the heat. If you don't like the heat, that means something's up with you. Got demons attached.
It's funny you said that. I told my mom, I said, hell isn't hot. It's cold.
It's cold. It's cold. People don't like Christian. A lot of Christians come after me for that too, because they like to think they've been so conditioned to hearing that it's the fires of hell and all that stuff.
Right.
No, it's cold. Anywhere you go cold places, there's a lot of demons there. It's a lot of, especially when even when a house is possessed with demons, it's always cold. Poltergeist, everything. It's always cold air.
Right, and that's the final trick. These people think they're going somewhere else, and it's cold. That's the final trick.
No, and they get caught up in that reincarnation, because if you're caught in that conditioning that heaven or hell exists as far as Christianity is concerned, you get stuck.
Right.
So what's going on, Mama? What's going on in your neck of the woods?
You can't go anywhere without a mask on.
Okay, it's the same. Mandatory. I walk without. Is everybody walking around with masks? Are they really abiding by that law?
Not everyone.
Okay.
Not everyone. It's grade. Not everyone.
Good.
But you can't get in stores or anything.
Okay.
I'll wiggle my way. I've been hearing a lot of shots since 3 o'clock in the morning.
3 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. Yeah. It sounded like a war zone. I was on a training facility, like I was stationed on one.
Yeah.
On an Army post. There's been more activity around here, disrupting my sleep than on one of the.
Wow. So that's a form of psychological warfare too, disrupting your peace of mind, your peace, and making you worried, and then that kind of numbs you after a while, and then when it really happens, when something really kicks off, it's like the boy. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
So 3 o'clock in the morning, does it stay? How long does the sound stay? How long is the sound?
20, 30 minutes.
That long? That long?
Yes. It sounded like there was a shootout with M16s and things like this was 7.62 rounds. This was rifles.
Wow.
This is not, a 32 no.
This is crazy. Okay, so this is crazy. Oh, wait. Oh, they were saying they hear you a little muffled. Move a little. She said to move a little bit away because I hear you a little muffled too.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it better?
Yeah, that's better. That's better.
Okay. I'm sorry.
No, that's good.
That's too. So.
That's okay. That's okay. So what's your take on it? What do you think? Because I have my own theory. What's your theory? What do you think they're doing? Because you've been on a warship before. Kind of like the kind of the things that go on in those environments, how they train. Do they train people for things like this by doing things like this, making you acclimate to a sound so you're not as scared?
But to sounds, typically, everything is acclimation.
Wow.
So that's why if it's cold and sound, they'll just make you go out the cold and run and sweat and it's cold and reason. They acclimate you to sound, they acclimate you to schedules. And the disruptive reporting, it's kind of like to keep people. If you're not used to anything and your control is shaking somebody.
Yeah.
That's why even like in basic training, they come in at 3:15 minutes, screaming and hollering and rattling trash cans. And I think it's a mixture.
Yeah.
I think they're getting used to the sound.
Yeah.
But they don't want to be in your face yet.
Exactly.
When they run in your face, it's going to be the shock factor.
That's right. It's crazy. I mean, we're living in a mad world.
It is. It's a Looney Tune man.
It's like a cartoon. Those cartoons were like boom, bang, wop, bop.
And I'm watching it like I'm watching a movie or something.
It is. It's every day. It's another something. It's another orchestration of another scene from another part of the movie. It's every day.
Right. Just like now, we're going to do this and
they already did the tester with the phones. Not everybody. Was your phone affected? Mine wasn't. Was your phone affected by the?
Yes, I could reach no one. I could reach anyone.
Okay. What service do you have?
I had T-Mobile.
Okay, so T-Mobile was affected, and we know Verizon. Was there another one that was affected?
My son has Sprint, and his did not work.
Okay, so Sprint was affected, T-Mobile, and also um and also Verizon. Okay, so those are the three. Well, my thing is, even when I was discussing with preppers, you know, one thing is we always have EMP boxes. This is a Fahrenheit cage, which some people like to liken it. This is something that many people should really take in consideration, because whenever they do an EMP, unless you have a satellite phone, some people have satellite phones or satellite walkie-talkies, which I think are a necessity right now. I just think that you should have the discussion with your family members. I have walkie-talkies that are like 10 miles distance, having everyone have a walkie. So if you have family close by or the children and they're a little older, keep a walkie on them, okay? And a fresh pair of batteries on them. EMP mostly will knock out most things, but usually sometimes with walkies, they may survive if you keep them in a Fahrenheit cage. So because cell towers will be affected, but sometimes walkies will survive. So put it in a Fahrenheit cage. Some people make it. There's homemade ones that are really good, but I would suggest anything that you want as a telecommunication, even if it's a bogus, like a bogus phone, like a phone that you don't use, you know, bug out phone, put it in one of those cages so that if anything pops off, you got a phone number in there, a card or something so that you can communicate with your family.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. We're selling. I'm like, cage. I'm going to force them at this point.
Yeah, you can make them. And you're on a West Coast.
Something else I found funny, real quick.
Yes.
Yes. I had gone out to the family has picking for me.
Why is it? You're coming in and out, Mama. I don't know if are you on a speaker? Okay, let's see.
Yeah, because I dropped my phone and talk about
it. No worries. Go ahead. I can hear you.
My family has 3 acres out in the country. Okay. And I think that they are being affected by St. G signals.
Okay.
I mean, themselves.
Yes.
Things that they're mentally going through, physically going through. Things the animals are going through.
So you're seeing it. You're seeing it play out in their bodies. What are some of the symptoms you're seeing?
Seeing things, hearing things,
yeah.
Some of the animals are working bad. Lethargic, almost like just something stupid.
Yeah, unable to think. She's saying they can't hear you well. It's muffled.
She's saying unable to think.
Yeah, she's saying
it's like they're sitting in a daze all day long.
She's saying that they're dazed. They're sitting in a funk. They also, you know, what are you saying? Like the not being able to think is usually a sign of, and that's why I'm going to go into the golem later about how that's interconnected, because some people are more affected by the St. G than others. And they know this. They know there are people here that are more affected. And they know, and they also Taylor and the cocktail that comes out of the chemtrails that affects certain people with certain quality hair. So certain people with certain texture hair get affected by the chemtrails different than other. Big up to the C-Star who shared that with me yesterday. It affects certain people with certain hair texture. So I would just be mindful with hair, keeping hair protected, and also, you know, keeping like a hat on, or oil, you know, keeping like a nice little slick little nice oil. People of color generally do that. I don't know if lunars do that.
I was gonna say that. You know, I got that.
Yo, we do it. I put oils and, you know, masks on my hair. And, you know, if I know I'm going in an area where there's a lot of electronics, I put I have the RFD cloth and I put it in my hat. If I know I'm going to be somewhere where there's going to be a heavy amount of radiation as via the towers.
And I was surprised that they were being so effective. Can you hear me better?
Yeah, I can hear you. We can.
Okay. I took my son's earphones.
Perfect.
I was surprised because they're so far out.
Yeah.
They're so far out.
Yeah. And
so I said maybe they're going from the outskirts.
So where would you mind? And you don't have to say specifically, like how far out in the country were they? Where were they at? They were still in Cali, right? Cali?
No, Arizona.
So they were out in the middle of Arizona and they were still getting affected by it?
This is the desert. This is 20 miles from anything.
I'm glad you share this. You know why that's important? Because remember, and they're selling those lands for cheap. You know that, right?
Yes.
They're selling those lands for dirt cheap. They probably have buried, you know, conductors under there. Because remember, we talked about a lot of the underground bases being under those desert areas, especially next to New Mexico. They probably have.
You know what?
Yeah.
Okay, so around like St. John, That's like 18 miles from the New Mexican border.
Yes.
They're selling 20 plus 30 plus thousand acres for less than it's like 20,000 acres. No, I'm sorry. 35,000 acres for, it's like pennies on the dollar.
I know that. I see it.
Pennies on the dollar. And these are places you could not even drive through and get gas good.
No.
Without them ushering you away.
No. They're purposefully doing that. They're making people, they're probably baiting people out there to be isolated so they could do things under a private guise. You know, if you get enough people buying, because the type of people who would buy land like that are preppers. Remember that. Part of the
absolutely
preppers.
I told my family
off-grid people.
They're out there burying people who want to see the property.
Yeah, off-grid people. Off-grid people would do that. But you got to be careful because Dr. Delva Blair, the number one thing he said to us before was, be careful in New Mexico, especially Dulce, because they were doing experimentations underneath the grounds and they had been making, you know, spider people, ant people, mixing people genetically, morphing people and doing, genetic manipulation. So
the mad scientists are
so they're being affected. You've noticed this, right? So they're out in the middle of Arizona, and they shouldn't have that because they're not near anything. That's good to know.
They're not near anything. No.
I love that you know that. Thank you. Do they have any do they have any trees around them?
I looked at the trees. The taller ones aren't being affected, but it seems to me that the plants lower to the ground aren't.
That means something is underneath the ground. Thank you for that. They have radiated the soil. Something's underneath the ground. Thank you for that. What you just shared gives volumes of credence to what they've done underneath the ground. They buried something. There's something underneath there, and it could be leaching up, and they're being radiated from the bottom up. We always assume it's going to be from the top down. No, the trees always detail. If it was from the top, you see the tip of the trees all decrepit on top, but no, it's the bottom.
That's what I was looking for.
Good job. This is what I'm talking about.
But I noticed that anything he plants now,
yeah,
like young trees, even the animals that like on the ground and stuff, they're not doing well.
Okay, and that means that there's radiation over there. They have something underneath. Good to know. So anyone who's in that region, just FYI, our C-Star just gave you some intel. If you're out in the middle of the desert and it's cheap land, like I said, I just noticed over the last month and a half, all this land that they are selling for cheap. And, you know, land is one of the things that they haven't ever given land for investment. Yeah, it's because.
And here, I tell them, watch your water rights. Watch whether there's water.
Yeah.
It's the desert.
It is. It is.
They'll get you out there and go dry up.
Exactly. Well, you know, I don't know how much water is there, and I don't know if they have aqueducts. I probably closer to the mountain, there might be aqueducts that they can access. But if there's that kind of radiation, I wouldn't trust anything in the soil because it'll reach right into the water. It doesn't matter how much you filter out. Radiation is not filtered out the same as metals. It's totally different. Radiation is something that's hard. Once it leaches into anything, it's almost like something that's everlasting.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
And then, you know, they irrigate to death. I know. Okay, real quick.
Yeah.
I used to live out there.
Yes.
High school years.
Yes. In Arizona? In Arizona?
Yes, in Arizona. I was like in the outskirts of Casa Grande.
Okay. Casa Grande. Is that north, south, east, west? Where is that?
It's a little south.
Okay.
A lot of children, excuse me, between like 14 and 16, were dying of leukemia.
What?
Because the crop dusters.
Yes.
They were just spraying people's homes.
Oh, sugar plum. Thank you for this.
So that land is infected. So now they want to sell it to you to put your children out there.
Yeah, to absorb everything. That's how they clear things too. They put people on it, let them clear the land, and then they eventually get rid of you and then take the land back after it's cleared. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
We needed to hear that.
Yes, you're welcome. Anything else, I'll send you an email.
Thank you, Mama. Okay. Peace, Mama. Peace.
Hey, you all have a wonderful day. Thank you for the call.
Thank you. Wow, she just blew some spots on those in Arizona. So big up to all those in Arizona. What she was saying hey Saki, what she was saying is that there was crop dusters that were disseminating all kinds of chemicals. All that land that they're selling for really inexpensive has been sprayed with multiple chemicals, and people and animals are not doing well. And what she denoted is that it wasn't an issue, because usually with radiation, you want to see, usually because you see it on the top of the trees, especially if it's coming from downward, like a tower or from satellites. But she said she was hearing, she was seeing, actually witnessing that the trees from, especially younger trees from bottom up, were dying or being decrepit, and also animals were sick and people living in those areas. And also she did denote that, thank you, Susu. She did denote that children were getting leukemia in Arizona. So she was in Southern Arizona. So do know Dr. Delbert Blair did tell us back in the days that, especially over on the New Mexico side, that they were doing experimentation underneath the ground. And I just noticed that they were selling a multitude of land for like nothing. And for me, it's almost like they're getting rid of it. People who value something don't give it away for pennies, especially in the United States of America. And United States of America is a capitalistic country. If something's worth something, they are not going to just give it and throw it away. They're trying to make money off of garbage. They're basically selling garbage. Just like the same guy who was selling, a device for like $500 and people are buying it, but you can make it yourself. That's kind of like that, putting a short price, knowing that people will like, and it's quicker for people to buy it. And also I know they're self-financing too. So they're financing inward. Why they do that is because the bank won't appraise it at the price that probably they're selling it for, because the bank will probably do its own investigation because it wants to back the loan that it'll give you. And once they want to back the loan, they will do an investigation. And sometimes they test the water, they test the soil. And if they find out that the soil is leached with radiation or whatever chemicalized, cocktail that they sprayed out of the sky, what have you, they won't distribute the loan to you. So a lot of these places are insourcing their loans. They are giving you, the loan, so to speak, but because they're shady. Okay. So thank you. I really appreciate, I needed to hear this conversation from our C-Star. So I'm going to call big up to her. She also said she was hearing the booms and the bangs up in Cali. So Cali, you guys are also hearing the sounds. Let me call for our other C-Star. Hold on. Chester, I'm going to give you a call, Chester. Oops. Hey, Chester. Peace, Chester.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. What's going on?
I wanted to talk about two dreams that I've had over the past couple weeks.
Okay.
The first one was that neither one of the current candidates is going to be president.
Okay.
So, in the dream that I had, it was a younger, kind of slim brunette man.
Uh-huh.
He looked maybe between like 35 and 45.
Mm-hmm.
He was related to Trump in some way. Something happens with Trump where basically like even the name itself is like disgraced. So he was kind of on his best behavior because he almost wanted to like clear the name or be remembered a different way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in that dream, there was a war that broke out on the ground. Like people were shooting from the air and there were troops on the ground.
Woo!
And the president in that dream was, I mean, I know the president's commander in chief, but I guess people forget that. But he actually like had to take up arms with the troops. And there was like a square tower that they had a bunch of people in, and they were they evacuated a lot of women, a lot of melanated women, oddly enough.
Interesting.
And myself and a friend of mine from Ivory Coast were there.
Yeah.
And So yeah, we had they were
Speak. Oh,
we had
speak
to
up.
like
Speak
run
up. Speak.
upstairs. They were evacuating us from the roof of this tower.
Oh, speak up a little bit. Speak up a little bit. They can't hear you.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, they were evacuating us from the roof of this tower.
Okay.
I guess there were like helicopters or planes or something on the roof, and we had to get away that way.
Okay.
But yeah, I was surprised that oddly enough we were being treated well for some reason.
Well, you know, the NAGA has home court advantage of it. You know what I'm saying?
And yeah, and in the dream, I didn't see what at that first dream. That was maybe like 6 weeks ago.
Okay.
I didn't see who was attacking.
Okay.
And I thought maybe it would be something like the Chinese or whatever. But I had another dream a couple days ago now, and I saw who it was sort of like the Red Dawn movie.
Yes.
I'm originally from New York, but I live in the South now. Yes. And in the dream, I was back in New York, and I saw people basically like abandoning their cars on like the Major Deegan, on 87, on Throgs Neck, places like that, and just walking in kind of like urban areas.
Oh my God. Okay.
It was mostly young people, and they were all kind of traveling on, foot. On the expressways by foot.
On foot, yeah.
And I finally saw who they were running from and who was like sweeping the urban areas and going out into more suburban and country areas, like looking through houses to see if like they were empty and stuff. And I was surprised that they weren't Asian. They appear, as far as I can tell, they appeared to be Russian troops.
Russian.
And in my dream, even when I first woke up, I thought that was odd because I was thinking, is it like an old insult from like 60 years ago that the Russians still mad about, that they would like wait until the country is weak and try to like get back? Or I don't know if it's just a stage where they have an agreement.
Remember Russia and China, Xinhua are best friends. You know they're close, right? And you know the Russians did bring. I'm sorry.
I suppose the Brits and.
The Russians also had ships about 6 months ago. I think it was 6 months ago, roughly around that time. There were ships going. Remember, Cuba is one of their land sources. So 6 months ago or 7 months ago, there were ships, huge Russian ships going over, delivering something to Cuba. So I don't think it would be odd. And in Red Dawn, remember, the first Red Dawn, it was the Xinhua who came down first. The second one, I think it was the Russians.
I think it's the opposite because the more recent one I saw, I think was supposed to be that Koreans invaded.
Okay.
But I haven't seen the one from the 80s, but I think that one was like the Cold War back when there was still the USSR.
Okay, so was that So it was inverted, So definitely.
Yeah. But from the dreams I've seen, neither one of because now they have two 70-something-year-olds with advanced dementia that are both supposed to be the presidential candidates. Neither one of them is going to be the president. And
they need to.
There's going to be a younger man, and he's actually going to have to actively participate more.
Interesting.
As far in the dream, it wasn't. I didn't see either one of his sons, but it was. But he was a relative in some way. He had the same name in some.
Interesting. Oh, okay, so maybe. Oh wow, this is interesting.
It's going to be a younger man. He looked between maybe like 35 and 45.
Yeah.
He was like. Because they're all kind of out of shape as well. People like make fun of Trump about, his fast food addiction and that sort of thing. This was a younger guy in shape, brunette, with normal hair. Okay. But he's related to the Trumps in some way, but almost like has it in the back of his mind that he's trying to like vindicate the name.
Very good. Well,
I was surprised. A friend of mine. And also they visited an HBCU, which was like odd, and like gave a speech there. This was before like the actual war broke out and they started evacuating, particularly the women.
Interesting. This is good to know.
But the dream I had a couple days ago, I finally saw who invaded. It was actually, they weren't Asian, because I was expecting that it would be Asian people if I ever saw who it was, but they weren't.
They were the Russians. Interesting. That's perfect. That would make sense. Because
little bits and pieces of things you've been saying kind of ring a bell to me. So I was like, I wanted to finally call in because I said like a lot of the things you said I already had. I saw in dreams before I would see talk about them in your videos. So.
Yeah, but this is good to know. This is excellent. This is excellent intel.
Yeah, I've had dreams over a while about the invasion actually hitting the ground, and it wasn't like the, because I was thinking it would be something like the blue beam or something, or like a stage, alien type of thing.
No,
it wasn't. It was ground war.
It'll be ground war,
like,
that kicks off the
actual
World War
and that sort of thing. And
thank you, my love. Could it be Trump's son? Someone said, could it be Tatiana?
No, it didn't look like either one of his sons.
Somebody related to him. Interesting. That'd be interesting
like
to see.
His sons are odd looking to me, so it wasn't.
You would know if it's the sons. You would know if it's the sons, right? Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, thank you, my love. This is good. This is good dream work, because remember, a lot of dreams, the truth comes out in the ethers, and part of that spills from the veil over to your conscious state. And I think it was purposefully meant for you to share this. So I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for calling.
Thank you, Mama. Have a wonderful day. Peace.
Thank you. You too.
Oh, wow. This is wild, y'all. Now, listen, it goes on with the Red Dawn. Remember, we do have a huge population of incoming Russians that have been here, and they've also been a big community, a foreign community that's been coming here in a big drove. And I love why she shared that, because when we're looking at one target, meanwhile, I know who bought it, but I know who's best friend. So it's almost like my best friend bought the country, but I'm going to go and take it over. So I get a piece of the pie. That's what it is. I'm going to take one more caller. Milani, I'm going to call you. This will be the last call, because my phone is going to die. Actually, that's why. Milani, I'm going to call you now. She's from Chicago. So we're going to get Milani, her take. Hey, Milani. All right.
Hello.
Hi, Milani. How are you? Peace.
Hey, peace. Where? Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Same, likewise.
Okay, so I'm actually watching like maybe 13 minutes behind, so I'm slightly behind.
That's okay.
But I was still watching you and the caller before me, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Okay. So there was a couple of things that's been happening to me lately.
Yes.
Remember when we talked about the white butterflies?
Yes.
Okay,
you were the one who talked about it. That was you. Okay, yes.
Yes, that was me, and I seen them again 2 days ago. So I'm riding my bike. I'm in Chicago. I'm riding my bike, and I see a white butterfly literally follow me, Fleur, on my bike. There's no way. Like, literally caught my eye, flew in front of me, and then just went away.
Yeah.
So I know that there's something going on, because the last time we talked about, you said it was more like a military, just how can I say, like
geoengineer?
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, but didn't you say it was more like a deception, like they were I forgot what it was.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. Yeah. It's the word.
It's a sign. Is it a sign?
Up on a word,
it's a sign.
Whatever.
It was a sign of something. It was a sign.
Yeah, it was a sign of something. But I know that when I seen the white butterflies, like there's something troubling, and I didn't get a good vibe off of it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk about the booms, and in Chicago, they started in June, the beginning of June, by the way.
Yeah.
Like they started. I literally want to say in like June 1st. It was just ridiculous. Like we also have Puerto Rico, a big community.
Hold on,
big Puerto Rican community.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no,
I hear my echo.
Oh no, that's okay.
So that's like it's kind of messing me up. But we have a large Puerto Rican community in Chicago.
Yeah.
And every second of the week of June, more or less, they have a celebration or whatever for the community. It's just like New York. But I find it funny how way before the festival even started, I mean, of course, we didn't have the festival because of the COVID quarantine.
Yes. But
they were already doing fireworks way ahead of time. And this was abnormal because I've never heard it like this ever.
Yes.
And I live more West Town. So I'm not like by the lake, and Chicago's pretty far up, big. Sorry. And I started realizing that the booms were started getting closer and louder.
Closer and louder.
So
yes.
Yeah. And then I started noticing helicopters galore, just flying over and over.
Really?
And this was since June.
Okay.
I mean, since the beginning of June. So I don't know. I think that June popped off something.
Yeah.
Because Chicago's been hectic with air traffic.
Yeah.
And we don't even have flights that are going out like that.
Oh,
so
wow.
I know that the air traffic is definitely coming military wise.
Yes.
Not to mention the booms, which I thought was pretty weird. And then I seen the white butterfly. So I know that there's definitely something military going on.
Yes.
That's definitely being like, how can I say it? It's going in.
Yeah,
well,
it's initiated. Something's being initiated.
Yeah, initiating. That's the freaking word I've been trying to
initiated. Something's been initiated.
God.
No, you got it, Mama. We got it. That's what I'm talking. Big up to Chi-Town in the house. Or we got a lot of Chi-Town people in the house. This is also a warning. And I love that. Maybe, I think a lot of times when we do our shield or protection, the warnings are part of the shield. It's letting you know something's up, something's happening. Our awareness is part of a shielding or a protection. A lot of times people ignore that. When you get a warning, that's your shield telling you that something's coming up in the field that you need to address.
For sure. And I always feel a lot of things within my org field.
Yes. That's
and I've noticed that I pick up a lot of things nature wise.
Yes.
So I think I have more of that shamanic quality.
That's right. Elemental. That's right.
Yeah, exactly. And the funny thing is, Fleur, that I actually was looking into the elemental world yesterday.
Yes.
So it's funny that you bring it up. There was something else that I wanted to talk about besides the white butterfly, the helicopters, the booms.
Yeah.
So we were talking about earlier. Well, you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
About the chickens.
Yes.
And eggs.
The pollo and the huevo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And I've okay. So I actually been going back and forth with vegan, pescatarian, and vegetarian.
Yes.
And that's just because I follow what my body wants.
Right on. Say it again.
So
that's right.
Yes, absolutely.
I
eat intuitive.
That's right. An intuitive nurturer of your body. I agree.
Yeah. And lately I've been wanting a little more eggs, but when I eat my eggs, and mind you, I get the Vital Farms pasture raised.
You go and get the you go to the farm.
Yeah, I get the best quality eggs, to be honest.
Yes.
And I still feel sick.
So try to get the soy free, Mama, because you can try to get the soy free. Can you get the soy free eggs? Because sometimes it has to say it though. See if they have it, because it could be something they're putting in the eggs, maybe something they're doing, and frequency wise, they're doing rituals.
So the eggs I get are organic pasture raised.
Yeah.
And hold on, there's Vital Farms.
Okay.
So it's the ones that Whole Foods sells, but I think these were the vegetarian. Anyway, I don't know what's going on. My body wants more, how can I say, like eggs and maybe slightly more dairy. I don't drink meat.
It could be the B12.
I mean, sorry, I don't drink milk.
It could be the B12, Mama. It could be the B12 and the calcium, the B12 and the vitamin D that your body's craving. That's probably what it is. Because I know, I
was thinking more of the selenium as well.
Oh, you're right.
Because selenium is really heavy in eggs.
Yes, you're right.
And I think that's where I'm lacking.
Oh my God. Go do the patches. If you find the selenium patch, I'm big into patches. A lot of mommies are pregnant women, mommies, or just, when you can't get it in your tummy or not enough, maybe the body bothers it. See if there's a selenium patch. I'm a fan of the patches. It saved my life. It has.
Yeah, so I started realizing that certain things that I'm craving is because I'm deficient in certain things.
Yes, and also
So
radiation and also stress depletes a lot of certain minerals are depleted from what's going on now, and radiation tends to deplete our calcium, vitamin D, and also I never thought about it. Selenium is something that you may be hampered with. This is good to know.
Yeah, for sure. And then those are like kind of the main things that are more deficient in our bodies because we don't get them as often.
Yes.
So especially for people who are vegan, vegetarian.
Yes.
I mean, if you're not really eating eggs, or drink, well, I don't drink milk.
No.
Cow's milk I don't drink,
no.
sorry.
No.
But yeah, so I started realizing that selenium is one of the things I started feeling deficient on. So I started trying to eat my eggs, and then my eggs started turning on me, so I had to stop. Okay. I actually got the sun chlorella.
Oh yeah, I love it.
And I started taking it.
Yeah.
But I started to realize it has sunflower lecithin. And lecithins are not really that good for us.
Really?
So yeah.
Oh, okay. So
that was something I wanted to tell you too, because I was like, man, I know that she's just like me. Like, we're so on it when it comes to our food.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and lecithins are not really good for us.
No, not at all. Not at all. Thank you for that. We need to know. Do the kelp. Sure. Do the kelp. I like the kelp drops. The kelp has been saving my life too. Because I did sun chlorella mostly during the first couple weeks of quarantine, and then I kind of went on to the kelp wildcrafted like kelp droplets. It actually it's been making me see if that I'm gonna see if kelp has a certain amount of selenium. It could, because I felt really good with the kelp drops.
I have a good one. Well, this is actually different.
Yeah.
This won't even be based on like nutrition.
Yeah.
This is more actually like Shen medicine, if anyone knows what that is. Yeah. So Shen medicine would be like what we would call like spirit medicine.
Yeah.
But they use it in places like China or Japan. So mainly Asiatic countries.
Yeah.
So there is something for people who want to kind of raise up their vibration.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people heard of Tulsi basil.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so the Tulsi holy basil, I have a tincture and it's so good for. It's a wild crafted tincture. You only take a couple of drops. Yeah. It is a mild diuretic, so you would have to drink water.
Yeah.
But I swear to you, every time I feel sick, I take that and it makes me so much better.
I love this. Thank you for that.
And I feel like that also helps raise your vibration and Kundalini because it helps both. So it's, I want to say it's kind of like one of the things that I've been turning to mostly, especially since there's so many things that hamper our vibration and frequency. So that's just one thing. But we were talking about. Never mind, Fleur. No. I think I said everything I wanted.
No, you did. You're good.
And it'll probably come back to me soon, and I'll just hit you back up then.
Absolutely. No, you're good. Thank you. You gave us a lot of gems too. I love it. And now you gave me a little warning about the sun chlorella. I love when you give me like that kind of awareness.
I'm glad that you brought the blue spurs.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I put it in my hair. I ran out. It's so expensive. I can't even get
it. Is expensive.
Oh my God, I love it though. The way I feel is amazing when I have it.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm so glad. I wrote it and I was like, I didn't think that you would have even read it.
Yeah.
But you like took on to it real quick. I was like, yes.
Yeah, no, it's great. Thank you, Mama. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate it. Well, I called.
Of course, thank you again.
I called you.
Peace,
all right.
Fleur, we love you.
Peace, love. I love it. All right, y'all. My battery is low. I appreciate it. Thank you for everyone who allowed me to call today. I really appreciate it. Tonight, I'll do the Golem. I'm going to talk about the Golem later. I've got a exit stage left. So I hope everyone found this. Please put a like on the video. I'll keep it up as long as there's a couple likes on it. Just make sure that you be mindful. And if you have anything you want to share about the booms, anything that you've heard, by all means, please definitely share that with me so that I have an idea of, where these different booms are being heard so we can see strategically where they're planning to do a couple things. Okay, so I gotta go. I wish everyone well. Okay, family, I love you. Have an amazing day. I came on early. I told you once my little ones are asleep and once they're awake, I got to go anyway. The battery's low, so everything is right on time. So I will talk to you. I love you and have an amazing day. Peace.